This is A's Cast Live, your comprehensive look at the Oakland Athletics.
And the pitch is swung on, hit the right field, hit deep. Whitefield going back at the track, over his head, and over the wall. Do you believe that?
And 29 other MLB clubs.
Ramirez with a drive to deep right, away back, goal!
Go Hayes! Gets a bomb out there by the Rocks. And boy, oh boy, this third inning is now showtime.
It is a Judgian blast. All rise. Here comes the judge.
Join us as we take you inside the baseball universe, from humidors to spin rates to game-changing moments. We have you covered. Spend your afternoon with us next from the town, only on A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another edition of A's Cast Live. It's like we haven't been on in a while. Well, we haven't. We've had the 4th of July coming off the weekend as we are getting closer to the All-Star break. So that means today you'll be hearing from your All-Star. That's right. Brent Rooker is going to be here today at 2:30. Sarah Langs, whose parents threw out the first pitch with her at Yankee Stadium. Sarah, good friend of the program, obviously battling ALS. She will be here at 2 o'clock. And then Bobby Crosby, the manager of Midland, is going to be here at 1:30. The former Rookie of the Year. Is a lot to talk about his guys, as how they doing? How does he view them? What are they ready for? That's what I want to know. What are they ready for? What are these guys ready for? Because here we are. It is July. It's July. And at some point, you're going to look at 24 and 63. And I know we just brought up a guy yesterday who's 36 years old. Young players are going to need to get an opportunity. And at some point, you're going to, I know how front offices feel. They feel, hey, games in August or games in September are enough. Not for me. I would like to see the most games possible for young players at this level to learn. Other teams have done it. Other teams have brought up guys from Double-A already this year.
Orioles just called up their number 2 prospect, Colton Cowser.
How many guys have the Angels called up that are from Double-A, not Triple-A, Double-A?
Well, I'll just break it down one more layer for you. They have 3 guys from last year's draft on their team already.
Last year's draft. Where are young guys? Let's go.
Gallup's hot this month. Or has been
I'm
hot
just telling you,
year.
I want to see the young guys. Let's go. What are we waiting for?
Well, Nick Allen's back. That's a young guy.
But I'm looking at my lineup today. I'm looking at the lineup. I don't see the young guys. So at some point, need to see them, right? Or you're wasting valuable time on guys that are not a part of the future. Hate to say it. I need to start the show out because there is a beef going on right now between me and the Milwaukee Mauler, the great Milwaukee Mauler, one of the great wrestlers of his time. I thought I was doing a very nice thing yesterday as we had 3 things going on in the postgame show for 4th of July, the Clubhouse show. You may have heard of it. Taking your phone calls at 833-625-2278. And we had A's history on the 4th of July, baseball history on the 4th of July, and competitive eating, which we will get into as a San Jose State graduate. And Bill Walsh is right over here, another San Jose State graduate. He may be the greatest Spartan of all time. And I'm going to take myself out of that conversation because I would not want to be in the conversation with this great American. He's an American hero. We will talk about that a little bit later. But for the baseball history, keeping it Bay Area, as everybody likes to keep it Bay Area, keep it 100, I played Dave Righetti, who's from the Bay Area. Last we saw of Rags, he's still with the Giants organization, but Dave Righetti was a great pitcher in his time with the Yankees and then with the Giants. Was just a pitching coach for Was he the pitching coach for all three?
Yes.
So he just was the pitching coach for all three championship teams that the Giants had. I thought it was a feel-good story, right? Dave Righetti is the only guy to throw a no-no on July 4th. So I played the highlight. Yankee Stadium against the Boston Red Sox. Kind of a big deal. And I wake up to this just coming down my road email of just hatred, of just July 4th hatred of the Milwaukee Mauler ripping me because I said, hey, listen, one of the biggest things about this no-no was that the last guy that Rags had to get out on that famous July hot 4th in the Bronx was Hall of Famer Wade Boggs. I mean, it wasn't like he had to get out, I don't know, we'll go to today's lineup. Javi Baez or Shea Langoliers hitting 204, or how about Aledmus Diaz hitting 202? This is Wade Boggs, not Miguel Cabrera. By the way, Miguel, I love in the notes today, Miguel Cabrera. He's hitting 348 last 20. Guy has not.
What's hitting on the year?
248.
Oh.
But Miguel Cabrera, the previous 27 games, was hitting 169. This is not like 169 Miguel Cabrera you got to get out, Milwaukee Mauler. Yes, was Wade Boggs early in his career? No question. But just to decide this and decide the hatred of 4th of July right now. Wade Boggs in 1983, because his argument is Wade Boggs hadn't played 200 career games yet. But Wade Boggs in 1983, future Hall of Famer, played in 153 games. Is that a lot of games?
Yeah, it's almost a full season. Almost.
Pretty much, yeah.
Almost.
I mean, 162, he took a couple days off.
Yeah. 9 to be exact.
He hit 361.
It's pretty good. I mean, we got a guy trying to hit 400 right now, and this guy's hitting Wade Boggs in his young career hitting 361.
361. So the guy hits 361. You're telling me that's not a big deal that you got him out for the final out of the no-no? I think Milwaukee Mauler owes me an apology.
Oh, I don't know if you'll get it. If you do get one, he'll.
I want a cage match.
He'll send it to me on Twitter.
I want a cage match / ladder match / retirement match with the Milwaukee Mauler.
There's only one way.
Whoever loses retires.
There's only one way to settle this.
Or get out of town match.
Well, if you really want to settle this, and I sent you guys the video the other day, Mauler would know because he's a wrestler. There's only one way to finish a rivalry, and it's Hell in a Cell.
Helen, which one was that?
That was Undertaker Mankind, where Mankind got thrown off the top. That's what you guys need to do.
What about when Mankind got thrown through the fence?
Same match.
Yeah. All right. I'm in. I mean, 360. Just refresh my memory. How many Oakland A's have hit 361?
Not many.
Can you name me one?
Oakland A's?
Oakland A.
No, because here's a stat for you. Only one Oakland A's player has ever had 200 hits in a season. Who am I?
I'll go with Miguel Tejada.
Correct. That's the only one. It's the only one.
See, the difference is between Cody will read stuff and then tries to. I hadn't seen that.
Actually, it was part of the Immaculate Grid. It was 200 hit A season.
There you go.
Only one Oakland
right here. Right here.
I went double X, but
Jimmy Fox?
Because you can do any athletic.
Oh, that's
player.
how you said Oakland A.
Yeah, Todd is the only Oakland A to ever do it.
Yeah.
And then it was A's 200 hit season, so I went double X.
And you're wrong.
Well, he had 200
double
hits.
X?
Yeah, 200 hits in, yeah.
So can you name me an A at 361?
No. Ricky's never done it.
No, not close.
What's the Tejada at the year he had 200 hits?
Not even close. Not even close.
Miguel Tejada
361.
Miguel Tejada the year he had 204. Let's say he had 204 hits in 2002. He hit 308.
I mean, how many guys in the modern? You got Gwynn. You got Todd Helton. I think Larry Walker did it. I mean, both those guys did it in Colorado. Probably Rod Carew. 360 and above, Wade Boggs. I mean, this is select company.
Yeah, I mean, because I was reading something about Luis Arraez, and there's only been 3 players since Ted Williams hit 400 that had 240 hits or more in a season. That's what Luis Arraez would need. He needs to have 240 hits and like 600 at bats to get to 400.
Well, all you have is George Brett is the only guy to hit 390 or above in a full season.
Yep. And that was in 1980?
1980 at 390. Tony Gwynn in the strike shortened season, and to give Tony credit, he was hot. And if you took they have a stat from year to year, from where he was to that point last year, he was hitting like 400, but he ended at 394. That's it. Very, 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 very few people hit for this high of average. And by the way, do not get me started on that show on MLB Network that actually threw out the question: if he hits 400, is he a Hall of Famer?
Oh, yeah, I sent that to you.
This is the same show that was talking to Brandon Marsh, and they were talking about, shortstop, free agent, just signed, Trey Turner. They were just talking about so Trey Turner, they don't dump water on him after the game if he does something when he's doing an interview. They slowly pour it.
Okay, that's bizarre, but all right.
So it's not the douse you with water, it's slowly pour it.
Is he afraid to get like an ear infection? Or?
I have no idea, but I'm not going to mention her name, but she's the one that was, I don't even know if I brought this up on the show. I've done the experiment. Who are you actually? I said we're in a midlife crisis in baseball where this broadcaster, she says to him, "So what's up with your new celly?" The new celly. Do you know what the new celly? Not your cell phone, not your celly.
Yeah, I would assume celebration.
It's your celebration.
I'm millennial, not Gen Z.
So I brought my kids in, right? Teenagers who know everything: TikTok, Instagram, Taylor Swift, fashionistas.
Are they Gen Z or Gen Alpha?
I don't know. I brought them in and I played it for them. I'm like, because obviously this isn't for me. I am your target audience. So I brought in you because obviously you're trying to play to a different audience, right? I brought in my kids. My kids go, "Dad, no one talks like that." So I'm like, they're not playing to you, your age group. They're not playing to me. My teenage daughter thinks it's stupid. Who they playing with? To the celly. And then asking a question if Luis Arraez hits 400. It's like baseball doesn't know who they're advertising to. And it's like you got all these companies. I don't even want Bud Light is probably the greatest example, and that's very controversial. I really don't want to get into that. But Bud Light has lost. Oh, my God. I mean, who are you advertising to? Who's your base? I can tell you, the people watching MLB Network are not the people who go, "What's up with your new celly?"
I can't even.
That's what the crowd of. I'm so stoked about today's pitching matchup. I'm so stoked.
I can't. Well, I can't.
Like we're Valley Girls from the 80s now.
I don't have MLB Network, so I can't watch. But I see the clips on Twitter, and that's how I see it. But
is it unbelievable what they're doing?
I'll answer the question for you. No, Luis Arraez should not be in the Hall of Fame if he hits 400. It's an incredible feat, but we're not putting him in the Hall of Fame for that.
No, you don't get directly. You don't get ushered directly into the Hall of Fame.
No, if you hit 400 5 years in a row and get 3,000 hits, yeah, you're probably going to the Hall of Fame. But if you do it just one time, I mean, Ted Williams, believe it or not, Ted Williams actually had a good career after he hit 400 in the season. He hit 406 to be exact. He had a great year. He had a great couple years after that.
Yeah, he actually fought in some wars too for his country. 2 different times he left for military, and then of course Ted Williams has one of the greatest final years of a player of all time. It's hard to believe he even retired after the year that he had. I want to really, I'm just joking. Milwaukee Mahler and I are good. That was just a little theater here. I want to praise JP Sears. That's how I really want to start the show. Because in a year when you don't get a lot of run support, and even though there's the crowd that doesn't think that wins matter, but you know what? To a starting pitcher, to the players, it does. It's funny how it matters to the players, but it doesn't matter to the people who don't play. I always find that funny, but it is what it is. It matters to them. It matters to him. And it matters how many innings, and it matters how many starts, because these guys got pride. You're going to hear it from Brent Rooker here in just a little bit. And looking at yesterday, it's been tough for a guy like JP Sears because he's not getting a whole lot of run support. In fact, he had been getting 0 run support, but he keeps going out there and battling. And when we talk about, from an A's perspective, about what you need to find, because right now, I'm like Indiana Jones. Did that come out yesterday?
Coming over the weekend. It's apparently number 1 movie in the country right now.
Harrison Ford is how old and he's still playing Indiana Jones?
I think he's in his late 70s. Don't let me overshoot his age or undersell what his age is. He's 80.
He's 80, still playing Indiana. He came out, Indiana Jones came out when I was a kid.
80s, right?
And he's still playing Indiana Jones. That is just incredible. I'm like Indiana Jones. I'm out there trying to find the Holy Grail. I don't know what he's trying to find this time around.
Last Indiana Jones and Last Crusade.
So we need to find players. And J.P. Sears has proven to be somebody that we can really say, I see him as of right now as a part of the solution versus the part of the problem. Because that's what you need to do in business. You need to find the solutions. What are the solutions? What are the problems? Well, I can give you a whole lot of problems. I'm looking at the lineup right now. J.P. Sears is one of the solutions. Actually, he might be the number 1 solution so far that we have found this year. Think about that. Because immediately a lot of you are going to go, what about Ruiz? You know what? Ruiz isn't hitting. Ruiz has dropped down to 255. And this was what you feared with old Ruiz, is what happens if he doesn't hit. Where do we go from there? Because he's a free swinger. And it was brought to my attention, hey, listen, Ruiz has there's some things that there's some things about Ruiz you're not going to love. I was told this by a scout, but if you loved everything about him, he would have never been made available to you. It's a great point. And I can tell you that great point was made by the legend, A's scout legend, A's pre- and post-game live, fanciest dressed man, the great Shooty Babbitt said it to me. Because I'm somebody that I'm looking at Ruiz every day, and I'm evaluating him. Like, how good can this kid be? What is he great at? What is he not? Well, there are some things that you love about Ruiz. You love the fact that this kid hits with runners on. He's got really good hands. That's why you've been able to see him go foul pole to foul pole. He's got really good hands. He's very talented. But then there's other things that you look at and you just go, wow, that's bad. Like his defense. Like sometimes his plate discipline. Like in extra innings when he tries to bunt and he misses all 3 and strikes out with a runner already in scoring position. There's just dumb things that go on. He's not a young player. He's 24 years old, but he's played more games than a kid who would have been a first-round pick coming out of college. At 24 years old, Ruiz is blown by him in games played. He has played a lot of games for a guy his age, professional games. There are things to like, and then there's the what happens if he doesn't hit. Well, look how everything just, wow. On-base percentage right now is .308. For your leadoff hitter.
Not good.
OPS is 635.
Not good. OPS plus is 84. That's below league average.
And the average is just going down. Now, you got stolen bases, which is great. So when he does get on, but his pace, we were trending in the 80s. Pace now is at 78. Still fantastic. Still unbelievable. But, the key is, and Ricky Henderson said to Dave Stewart, so forget what I think. What about Ricky Henderson? Ricky Henderson needs to see him take more pitches. Ricky Henderson needs to see him get more walks. Ricky Henderson doesn't want him to be such a free swinger. I don't know when we're going to get Ricky around and Ricky can talk to him, but that was Ricky's strength. was that Ricky wasn't a hack free swinger. Ricky Henderson had patience. Ricky Henderson knew he would get pitches from certain guys because they didn't want to walk him, because they knew if they walked him that he would steal second and if not steal third. So he would get pitches, but bring up Ricky's walks. Just to give you an example of how much Ricky Henderson plate discipline played in this man's great career of what, 25 years?
Ricky played
25?
25 years.
25 years. How many walks?
In his career, he had 2,190 career walks.
He had over 2,000 walks, man. 2,000 walks. Ruiz has 14 this year. It's hard to walk him. Now, I don't want to take the hit tool away from him, but there are things that you're going to need to see from a growth standpoint for me to say, because right now J.P. Sears has elevated himself to the number one story. I got a guy who's tough. Dave Stewart says he loves how he pitches with guts. He's given me innings. He's given me hope. J.P. Sears has given me something that I know next year, you know what? I want to see the second half. I want to see him compete and battle. But right now, I'm pretty high on J.P. Sears. You've got to have somebody who gives you innings and gives you a chance at winning.
He's a 3.14 ERA over his last 10.
And Ruiz would probably be number 2, with Noda being third. Noda, game-winning RBI there, winning a game where you only have 2 hits.
Pretty impressive.
So, but Ryan Noda still leads the American League in walks. I know Ryan Noda has got the mature eye. Ryan Noda also has the hit tool, but he doesn't use it enough. Ryan Noda's got to figure out the hit tool, because we're going to sit here and go, God, I love you walking, but you're hitting 230 in that OPS. The walks are great, and they're going to keep your OPS up there, kind of afloat. But the more you don't hit and you take offers and you take strikeouts, it starts to – because you saw at one point Ryan Noda got it up to 250 because he was hitting. And next thing you know, the OPS soared to way over 800. But he's not hitting. He's got the hit tool. He has the ability to drive the baseball. So if I had to rank them right now, and that ranking could change, but the 3 guys that you say, okay, they give me hope. It's J.P. Sears, it's Ruiz, and it's Noda. And I'm taking right now, after yesterday's outing, after what he's done now in his last 4 starts, as how we see him improve. Here's the difference. We are seeing J.P. Sears get better as the season goes. We're not seeing Ruiz and Noda get better. They have done some things that's impressive. Ruiz is leading baseball in stolen bases. Noda is leading baseball or American League in walks. He's one of the tops, and he's been pretty good defensively. But they've regressed as they start to go on. The numbers, they're not hitting as much, both of them. J.P. Sears is the one player on this roster who's young and who has gotten better right in front of our eyes. Is there any debate over this?
No, like I said, over his last 10, J.P. Sears has a 3.14 ERA. If you go by the runs he gave up over those 10, the only bad starts he had was against Philly and against the Yankees. Here we go.
But the Yankees start it was going okay.
Yeah. And then, it kind of unraveled then. But 2 runs, 2 runs, 1 run, 1 run, 1 run, 2 runs, 4 runs against Philly, 2 runs against Cleveland, 5 against the Yankees, and then obviously last night 7 in the third scoreless.
Who else is going to help him? I mean, where are we at with Ken Waldichuk? We're still in the oh my God mode. I mean, Ken Waldichuk has the 3rd highest ERA right now?
Yes, I believe that's what
6.78. James Kaprelian, can't count on him. He's hurt again. I mean, you start looking around going, okay, who's a part of the future here? I mean, you're going with Austin Pruitt today as an opener. I understand. and then Ken Waldichuk's going to come in. Hogan Harris, jury's still out. You can like him, but you haven't seen enough to say you can count on him. I mean, as a pitcher, other than J.P. Sears, you got 13 of them. Is there anybody you could say, aha? So there's one J.P. Sears. You got 12 other guys. Older guys don't count because they will not be here long term.
So you're taking Blackburn out?
Yeah, Blackburn.
Okay.
I like Blackburn.
I mean, he's like the same age as Cap.
I mean, Blackburn's about to be 30. I don't think Blackburn's going to be here in 4 or 5 years.
Probably not, no.
I mean, J.P. Sears may not be here, but at least J.P. Sears can bridge me to the next generation, right? Who else on the pitching staff?
Right now, I mean, jury's still out on Medina if he's a starter or reliever. What his electric
jury's
arm.
Way out on Medina.
Yeah. We don't know what he might be better as a middle to, high, I don't know if you want to say high leverage yet, but he has the arm to be a guy like that. But is he a starter? Don't know. Fuji, Medina.
Oh, Medina's a starter until further notice. I mean, he's not. You're not going to put him in the
as of right now, yes.
Bullpen category.
I'm just saying maybe long term that's something that.
Are you going to give me the ultimate winner, Shintaro Fujinami?
I was just going to say
5 wins.
He has more wins than the reigning NL Cy Young winner Sandy Alcantara.
I want to be on the record here that I threw out a text yesterday to one of the heads of marketing, and I did not get a response. That what are you going to do when Shintaro Fujinami gets double-digit wins? This guy is the ultimate vulture. Now, what does that mean? Okay. Something happened to the prey down on the road. Something. I don't know how the prey is now dead on the road or injured. But the vulture does what?
Swoops in and
circles.
I was going to say swoops in too.
And this is coming from my old pitching coach, by the way. He used to call them vulture wins. You circle. You're up there circling, and there's that wind down there struggling. You come down, wah, wah, you come in, wah, and you swoop in and you get that win. So basically, Shintaro comes in, bang, 3 outs, does his thing. Team comes in next inning and wins. He gets the W. He's the king of the vulture win. I respect it. He's hunting wins. What are we going to do as an organization when Shintaro gets his 10th win? Hey, let's face it. George from Daly City, who has me doing Japanese words in the postgame show. Have you noticed that?
Yes.
We've been learning Japanese. So I have a deal with George in Daly City. Every single time Fuji pitches in a win, I will do a word of the day. Yesterday, I did the word for celebration. I can't remember what it was. Oiwai. There you go. You'll be able to hear it. Ready? Here is the Japanese word for celebration. Did you hear that?
Kinda.
Where is the speaker? Is it down here?
It's on the bottom.
Where is it?
Should be down on the bottom here. They're right there.
Oiwai.
Yeah. All right.
Oiwai. So I did Oiwai in the postgame show yesterday, celebration, in honor of the great winner, Shintaro Fujinami.
More wins than Sandy Alcantara. Did you see that coming?
He's got more wins than how many great starters this year?
Alec Manoah, who's coming back.
One of the funniest things that I've seen on Twitter in a long time. I don't know who put it out, but I had to laugh, and it's cruel. I'm just going to, no offense.
But now you're going to offend him.
No offense. I didn't offend him. I just saw this on Twitter where they said Alec Manoah is coming back to be one of the pitchers in Home Run Derby.
I did see that too. Yes. He pitched well in Double-A's. Sorry, he had 10 strikeouts. He's pitching on Friday for the Jays.
Oh my God. I was like, man, that is. But it's good to see him back because I thought that was tough. I mean, here's a guy that was obviously one of the highly sought after pitchers with the Toronto Blue Jays, very successful, and all of a sudden you're sending him down to your spring training facility to get him in shape.
Yeah, he didn't pitch well there either.
But
he did in Double-A though.
That is a bad look, my friend. So he comes back when?
Friday.
So you're going to bring him back for one start before the All-Star break?
Yeah, I guess the Jays need him.
Is that smart?
I don't know. Well, when we asked the man who's a manager in AA.
You mean the former Rookie of the Year?
Yeah, he's here.
Is he here? Bobby Crosby's here, the manager of Midland. How are you?
Wonderful. How are you guys doing?
We are doing real well. Bobby, I got to think you got to be having a blast with all these young players that you got and some guys that I know we talked about at spring training, but, I mean, you got some real good players right now. It's exciting baseball there for you guys.
Yeah, we got some talented guys. I mean, they had the growing pains a little bit at the beginning. Obviously, the way I like things done, maybe they weren't a little bit used to, but talent-wise, these guys are off the charts. And, spending the last 3 months with them, they know what I expect now, and the talent is showing. They're going about things the right way, in my opinion. So it's a fun team to be around.
Yeah, talk to us about that, because it's kind of there's a way to play this game. It's an old school way. It's a way that you learn. A lot of us like to call it the Oakland A's way.
Well, yeah. I mean, my go-to, I guess, is when they get to the big leagues, Kotz is going to want it a certain way. I mean, I went to Long Beach. He went to Fullerton. We kind of, we had that rivalry, but it's a sense of playing, playing the game the right way, busting your butt, doing things for the team, not just yourself. If you hit a ground ball, it's running the ball out hard. If you pop it up, I expect you to bust it down the line. There's certain things that I think young guys come into pro ball and it can be an individualized thing where they're looking at their stats or they want to, do it for them. But, when they get to the big leagues, they're going to have to be team guys because the main thing there is winning. So I want to teach them how to win here. So when they get to the next level and then to the big leagues, it's already ingrained in them.
When we think about AA and now we know AAA, that the numbers are just crazy because of weather and altitude and dry air and desert. And we don't know if hitters are this good or the pitchers are that bad. But when you talk about AA, Midland, it's obviously more of a regular game. What do you think? We've seen other organizations who recently, we talk about the Angels. The Angels got a couple of guys that they drafted last year up in the big leagues. The jump from AA to the big leagues, what do you think about that right now? If you were to say some of your guys, could they just skip AAA and play for the Oakland Athletics?
Yeah, I think Lawrence Butler definitely could. AA is a lot like the big leagues, and it was true when I was playing, and it's true today that maybe the most talent is here, and then in AAA, guys are a little bit more polished, maybe. But Lawrence Butler is a guy that doesn't matter how hard the guy's throwing, how nasty he is, he's going to hit the ball and he's going to hit it hard. He does he has that little special trait about him that he has that sixth tool, and it's his brain. He's a smart kid. But when it gets tough or late in the game, he can step up. So he's a guy that, if I were to pick one guy right now that can go in Oakland right now and compete and do a pretty darn good job, it'd be Lawrence.
Now, you got to see what he did in spring training and fired everybody up. I mean, it was like, this kid is something special. Has this simply, because I'm looking at his numbers right now, has he simply just carried what he did in spring training to what you guys have now?
Yeah. And he had a little lull there for probably about 3 weeks or so where he went down a little bit and now he's picked it back up. He's the type of kid who likes the limelight. He likes people watching him play. So I wasn't surprised with what he did in spring training. I had him in the fall league this past fall. He did the same thing there. When the lights are on and when people are watching and paying attention, he has that ability to step it up. And he has to find that at times throughout a regular season, especially in Midland, Texas, where there's not a whole lot of people checking us out every night. But he has to find that inner drive to keep it going. And he's found that recently where he's putting on a show and he does it almost every night.
I kind of like that. I do like bright lights go on, player plays big. I know people like consistency and they want you to do it no matter what the situation is. But as we know, if you're going to be a star in this game, you got to play when the bright lights are on, and no one ever complained about Reggie Jackson doing it. So, I mean, as a manager, right, don't you kind of I love a guy that's got that in him.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I mean, that's huge. I'd rather have that than the opposite for sure. I mean, he wants to be up in a big situation. He wants people watching him. He wants to impress, and And he does all those things. Yeah. So I definitely love having, him up in the 9th inning, 8th inning. When the game's on the line, if he's up, I'm good. And he showed that the past week where he had some big hits for us and hit a walk-off, and he shines the brightest when the lights are on.
And I just think about his year. I'm looking at doubles. I'm looking at triples. I'm looking at a ton of hits. He's stealing bags. I mean, what doesn't he do?
I don't know. He does everything really well. He has good speed. He has good baseball instincts. He can get to any pitch. He has a quick bat. He can hit for power. He can bunt. He does everything really well. I mean, I wish I could give you one thing that he really doesn't do well, and I really can't. I mean, for him, it's more just being maybe helping other guys. I mean, he has such a talent that I've encouraged him to help every guys. And if you hit a ground ball, I expect you to run as hard, almost as hard as you can, unless you're out. But just the little small things that I've been hard on him at the beginning of the year, and now he 100% does. There really isn't one part of his game I look at right now and go, you know what, he's really got to be a little more polished here. He's doing on all levels, and I'm sure before it's all said and done, he's going to make an impact there, whether it's this year, but next year probably most likely. Did you get to tell him that he was going to the Futures game? No. Ed Sprague gave him a call and told him. So he's I wouldn't put it past him if he hit a homer or did something amazing in that game, because he's built for that. How big is that for like that Tyler Soderstrom? I mean, we saw it last year with Langoliers. How big is that for them to go to this game? I guess it's just affirmation on how good they are on their talent. I mean, Lawrence is a guy who knows it anyway. He knows he's good. He knows he's going to be a big leaguer, which almost all big leaguers have that inside him, but he knows he's going to be really good for a long time. So when you get invited to something like that for Lawrence, I'm sure it's just more affirmation that I'm really good at this game and I'm a future star, and that's where he's supposed to be. All right, so my former teammate at San Jose State is Denzel Clark's agent, and he tells me Denzel Clark, he is a no-brainer, absolutely loves him. Take us through his year. We didn't get to see him so much in spring training because he was in the World Baseball Classic with Team Canada. Tell us about Denzel Clark. This is a fact, not over-exaggerating. He's the best athlete I've ever seen live. In a baseball uniform, for me live, I've never seen a better athlete. He runs down balls umpires, other players are like, this guy should be a receiver in the NFL. I mean, he scales walls. He does things that aren't normal for a baseball player to do. So 100%, he's the best athlete I've been around in baseball. With that, baseball kind of came a little bit late to him. So it's something where just the baseball knowledge and the little small skill sets in baseball are things that he's just building up and growing. He's not completely there yet. He's raw, but to see a guy with that talent and still have great numbers here off elite pitching, he's only going to get better. I mean, if you have that type of athleticism, and then once he gets all those little small baseball things that become more natural where he doesn't have to think about it, the sky's the limit for him, because I haven't seen anything like it. Well, I guess my buddy wasn't lying to me then. No, he's going to be really good, and I can't wait for him just to keep growing. I'm telling you, if he can continue the growth that he has over the past year that I've seen him, within a year, it's going to be something. And I'm telling you, you're going to see this guy do stuff that people do not do on a baseball field. I mean, do you think it's one of those deals that once the light turns, the light will turn on? Like at some point, it just happens in every single sport where the guy's got everything, but it's just not there yet, and that light turns on and poof. Is that where we're at with him? I think we're getting to that point. I mean, there's going to be adjustments with his swing that he'll probably have to make from time to time. And it's, facing different pitchers and what to expect and what's your approach. Those are the small things that I'm talking about. And I think that's not so much a light coming on. That's just something, playing more baseball over time, you end up developing that. But to what you're saying, there is a sense of once he gets that down and he can just go out and play like he does here on most nights, it's something different. He has a different gear, a different level than most guys and anybody that I've taught so far.
We get a lot of people on this show who minor leagues. They love Brett Harris. They just love him as a player. How much do you love Brett Harris?
Love him. Baseball player. He's a guy that, I talk about Long Beach and Costa, Florida. He's a guy that would, he fits that mold. You throw a fastball, hit a line drive to right, you hang a breaking ball, hit a homer to left. He'll bunt at any time. He knows where everybody should be on the field. He knows what everybody should be doing. He doesn't have to worry about himself because he's that smart. He's a true baseball player. Nothing gets by him. Every situation, he's ahead of it. He's a guy that, he'll be a leader in any clubhouse he's in. He's a leader in here. Guys respect him, knows he goes about his work the right way. He does everything you would ask of a baseball player. And he's just a super smart guy who knows the game inside and out.
How far away do you think he is?
Other than that not being my call, he's there. Defensively, he's 100% there. There's no doubt about it. The power numbers haven't come along this year as much as, I thought they would. But the line drives are there. Midland's not the easiest place to hit. I'm not giving him a built-in excuse there, but he hits balls hard. He does, he's a type of guy that I don't know how much else he could do to say, hey, I'm a polished baseball player, because he already is. He's super polished. He gets it on every level. He's uber talented. So I just think it's a matter of whenever they feel he's ready to go to AAA and in the big leagues. I think that's inevitable, but I don't know at what point that'll be, obviously.
I love that you say it's hard to hit there, because that's what I want, because I can evaluate that. I can't evaluate Vegas.
Yeah.
Everybody looks like Mickey Mantle and Ted Williams and Barry Bonds. How do you evaluate? Sky Bolt had these nothing against Sky Bolt, nice kid, but he came up with these numbers, and you're like, he's not going to do that at the big league. So at least we're getting a true measure of what these guys are in Midland. And that's why, Bobby, there's been times when, I was thinking like Kyle Muller, and I'm like, is it really better to send him back to AAA if you want to fix somebody, to send him to a place that's a bandbox and the ball's flying out? Or would it be better to send a guy to Midland where it more is like real baseball?
Yeah. It's hard. Yeah. It's hard to scout or judge someone's talent on that. If you had a pop up and it's going out, in Midland, it's fair. It's fair to more of a pitcher's park. The wind blows in. These guys are hitting balls that would be out of most MLB ballparks. And I try not to let them have those excuses. Hey, get a line drive. That's the way you got to play the game. But Lawrence Butler, I believe he has 10 home runs. If he's playing in a different park, it's a lot more than that. But these guys grind through it and know that's what they're given. But overall, yeah, it's a true judge on numbers wise on what a guy can do. You're not getting too many cheapies in Midland or even across this league. Most of them are very pitcher friendly.
You're around the big club, so you'll know this. When Cole Irvin was traded, it was like, oh no, because we all love Cole. Cole came on this show a bunch, and he was the one guy that you knew was going to take the ball. He was going to hopefully give you 30 starts. He was going to sniff 200 innings. And then all of a sudden he gets traded, and it's like, oh, my God. But Daryl Hernaiz, I look at the record. He wasn't at that time considered this great prospect for the Orioles, but the Orioles have a lot of good prospects. They've been building there. I look at his numbers, whether I'm looking at the OPS, batting average, you name it, playing middle infield for you. What do we got there? Because the numbers look pretty special.
He rakes. He absolutely rakes. Crazy hand-eye. He could look like he's out in front and still get the barrel to it. Quick bat. He swings hard. You almost think like, dude, you got to ease up, because he looks like he's trying to crush the ball every time. But he hits the ball hard, almost every single time he's up. He uses all fields. If they pitch him away, he'll go that way. He'll stay up the middle. As a hitter, very, very polished, very he knows what he's doing. He's a smart young kid. And then the defensive side is something that he has truly busted his butt on. From day one, obviously, he gets me as a manager, and he said he was excited about it.
Yeah.
I think he hated me, truly hated me for the first month or so. And he said, he was kind of, taken aback because I wasn't going to let anything slide, because his defense definitely was behind his hitting. His first steps weren't there. Knowing where to be on every play wasn't there. And he is now, he was in my office every single day, and we just watched games together, and we'd, watch what the shortstop did and watch the first steps. And he has applied it. I haven't seen a guy really make, biggest steps as he's made in the last 2 months. His first steps are great. His hands are great. He has turned himself into a shortstop. I thought maybe we couldn't keep him as short, but how he's done this last month, he's a guy who can play big league shortstop. He really has all the tools for it. And his bat is like I said, it's pretty special. He's going to hit at any level.
Well, attention to detail. And that's why I love what you're doing down there. That's called coaching. Ron Washington, when he was in town, he comes on the program. When we talked to Wash, all these years when he worked with Marcus. Look at all the infielders for the Braves now going to the All-Star game. It's attention to detail every single day. Little things, because little bad things lead to dumpster fire. Little good things lead to greatness. And you got to do those things every single day, and I love hearing that. On the pitching side, you got guys that the A's have traded for. I think of Estes here, Cusick. Tell us what you got pitching-wise.
Yeah, Cusick has made a huge turnaround. Last year he was a little erratic with his fastball and even his off-speed stuff, and he's found it. Credit to the pitching staff on that. He's found out where he's spotting up with his stuff. And that's the biggest thing for me. He would have, an inning or two last year where he just would completely lose it. And it hurt him, obviously with his ERA, and it hurt the team and his mental state. But he went to the fall league, and he pitched really good in the fall league. And then this year it's been a completely different person. I can't tell you rhyme or reason for it, but he hits his spots. He competes. He wants to stay out there. He has a different vibe about him. Maybe some guys come over here and it could be a little, getting traded or getting moved. It could be a little bit different. And maybe that was, part of the reason, but for him, he's stepped it up this year. He's at the verge of being really, really, really good. And he has been great for us this year. And this guy is awesome. He's entertaining. He is the most energetic, he's a wild man. He's crazy. He runs off the field every time. I haven't been around too many competitors like him, except for in the big leagues. Tim Hudson was an ultra competitor, but he was a different way how he did it. Joey doesn't want to give up a walk, a hit, a run, give up anything. And if he does, he's ticked, but he handles it the right way. His stuff is really, really, really good. But I just love how he handles himself and what he expects out of himself and how he works. He's a guy that when you watch him pitch, it's like, you got your money's worth for the ticket. He's super entertaining and fun to be around.
Let's end on this. I know you got to go. I've had conversations about you up here, and there is a lot of belief that there is no question that you will be a big league manager someday, and maybe a big league manager for the Oakland Athletics. For you, what has changed? What have you learned? And what is different about you now than when you first started?
First started as a coach?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say there's a lot except for just learning the game more. There's always different personalities that you're going to get. You talked about Wash. A lot of the stuff I do came from him. It's a passion. It's about the players. It's not about myself. I had my time playing. That was great. Now it's about them. So I pour everything into them. And what do they need? It's not about what I need. And I've tried to do that from when I first started coaching. Managing, there's always, there's different facets of the game. The running game, which I really didn't have to worry about as a shortstop that I've learned. And you get different personalities. Last year we had a tight-knit group that knew each other because there was a lot of repeat guys. And this year we've had, uber talented guys come up, but they weren't a part of that same group. So it's how do we form these guys into all believing the same thing and being under the same umbrella and believing in each other. So there's always certain different things that are going to come up that are going to help me grow as a coach. But whatever happens with me coaching wise, that's great. And I would love to coach in the big leagues and manage in the big leagues. And I think that'd be a blast. But in the interim, I'm pumped just watching these guys kind of step up the next level. Like I talked about Hernandez, seeing him go from here to here, that's what gets me going.
Yeah, though, that one of the number one things that I learned all these years from Bob Melvin and doing the Bob Melvin show for, God, I don't know, 8 years or whatever it was, and getting to know Bob real well was, we could talk about X's and O's and we can talk about baseball, but the manager, you got to deal with the players. You got to deal with the men. You've got to deal with the issues. You got to deal with the stuff that happens away from the field. Sometimes you're a father figure. Sometimes you got to be the guy that kicks them in the butt. Sometimes you have to be there for a hug. We talk so much about the baseball side, but what a lot of people don't understand is what the new school manager, because Bob didn't get, Sparky Anderson wasn't doing this stuff for you.
Yeah,
Bob Melvin back in the day. But you need to care about these players. You need to care about their well-being, and that's something that I learned from Bob, and I'm sure that's something that you've had to learn.
That's everything. I mean, that is, I think I have a pretty good grasp on the guys inside now. Just kind of know what makes them tick. And I'm sure, and when everything I heard about Bob as a manager, that's what the players loved him. And the players can see through somebody who's fake, someone who cares about themselves and doesn't care about them as a person. The playing side is great. You're going to help a guy out. But yeah, I mean, guys come in and talk to me about what's going on personally, what's going on in their life. And a lot of times I know already. I kind of dive into that side with them. And I consider a lot of my friends, there's a line there where they know it's manager Bob, but it's also, I'm talking about myself, manager Bobby. Yeah. And then also, when it's time to play, it's time to play. But outside of that, I'll hang out with them all. I'll enjoy time with them and really get to know them. They know, I believe they know that I truly care about them as a person. And if baseball's their passion, which it is for most of them, that's what I really try to dive in on. How can I help them get to their goals of getting to the big leagues? So yeah, but it's more than just writing the lineup out. It's really diving into who the person is and what makes that person tick.
Well, I know how busy you are. I truly appreciate the time. You're still a huge fan favorite around here. All the A's fans still love you to death. So whenever we can have you, it's an absolute treat. Continued success, and let's talk later on during the season.
I appreciate it, Townie. Sounds good.
Take care, Bobby.
All right, buddy. You too.
Bobby Crosby, manager of Midland, the Rockhounds. And did you hear it? So a guy I played with at San Jose State is the agent, and we got it. Mark O'Brien, for people in the Bay Area baseball circles, you'll know Obi, was the head coach at Santa Clara, longtime coach at Stanford, been to plenty of it. He was called the mayor of Omaha at one point. He's been to the College World Series so many times with Stanford, coach at San Jose State, went to Sarah High School. I think he played at De Anza, but I played with him at San Jose State. So Mark O'Brien is a lot of people know Obi in the Bay Area circles, and he's now an agent, and he's got Denzel Clark. And he told us before the WBC, because we were going to try and get Denzel on the, but once Denzel went to Team Canada, he's under Canadian control. We no longer, we no longer had jurisdiction.
Yeah, which makes sense totally, but it's good to see him and some of the stuff that, like Bobby's saying, he's the best athlete he's ever seen.
Ever.
That's pretty incredible. This is a guy that played in big leagues.
Ever. Like what? We got to get Denzel on the program. I can make that happen. But yeah, I mean, look what he's saying. I mean, Daryl Hernaiz. I remember I did a minor league report that I do in the fifth inning, and the numbers. It just like it stood out. I mean, at the time he was hitting like 360. I think he's hitting like 323 now. I'll get it for you in a second. But I was just like, I couldn't believe it. Yeah, he's hitting 327 now. But it's like, I was upset Cole Irvin got traded.
I think we all were.
Cole was our guy. Cole was, I mean, we brought on Cole. We talked about life. We talked college football.
Goat karting.
He's a duck. We had a great time. Cole was a great interview. He was a cool dude. He's come on with us since being with the Orioles. Where is he now?
I think he's still on the.
Is he? I haven't seen him in the notes starting in a while.
Let's see. How many games he's been in this year?
Not a lot.
Cole's been in 9 games, 7 starts.
Yeah. So it was tough. And you're like, Daryl Hernaiz, I want to say, this is off the top of my head, I want to say he was like the in the MLB top 30 for every team. He was like 16th.
That's correct. Yes.
Was it 15 or 16?
I think it was 6. It was 16. I'm pretty sure. I wonder. I don't know where he's at in our system.
By the way, you want the brilliant move of the day?
Sure.
Oh, before the show, I like to drink coffee. And I got my notes here. I'm reading my notes. I got one of those ninjas.
By the way, he's 14th on ours. Top prospects. So yeah,
I think he was like 16.
Yeah, he was like 16 with Baltimore.
Because the only reason why I remember that going, we traded Cole Irvin for their 16th. Are you kidding me? So I put the coffee, set it up, hit brew. I'm sitting there looking at the notes. I got about 5 minutes till the show starts. And I look over and I hear this dripping noise. Forgot to put the cup. So they have you can put you've seen the Ninja. So the big glass coffee thing, you take it out, which I did, but I forgot to put the little thing down and put the cup on. So it was just going all over the counter.
So now you actually got to go make one, or?
No, I only had a little bit because half of it was on the counter. And at the whole time we're doing that, I got like 4 or 5 minutes before the show starts.
Yeah, that's never a good mix.
Yeah, that was bonehead move of the day. How many people, and this is very, very sad, but how many people altered their life yesterday forever with fireworks? Happens every year.
Yeah.
Emergency rooms. Jason Pierre-Paul. You have guys that have altered their lives, guys and gals who have altered their lives forever because of fireworks. I can tell you right now, I go to a family party. CVS has just reached out to me for the shingle shot.
Is that something for people over 50, or is that for everyone?
You're not supposed to tell my age. Everybody thinks I'm like 38.
Yeah. You've only talked about it numerous times, your age.
Have I? Shingles. I got to get a shingle. Hi, John. Shingle shot, huh? All right. I didn't realize I got to do that. Okay. I just don't want to get shots anymore. Do you?
I do them. I don't think I have to worry about shingles, though.
By the way, reports have come out. The more boosted you got, more likely you were to get COVID.
Happened to me.
Yeah. How many times did you get COVID?
Both times after I got the booster.
It's amazing what's coming out. Now, I did what? 2 or 3 shots?
You did the first 3. I have the most recent one. Also,
No. I only did 2.
You didn't do the booster?
I don't think I did the booster.
Oh, so I have all 4.
No, I went to Levi Stadium I had Pfizer.
Same.
So that's 2.
Yep.
And then you know what? I got one at Walgreens, so I would add a 3rd.
Yeah, you had the first booster.
How many you got?
I have all 4.
How many times you got COVID?
Both times after I got the booster. Yes,
How many times has your wife had COVID?
She's had it. She's had it twice now.
She's had it, and she's one of the original. As a nurse, she got the original.
Yeah. Both times we got it traveling. San Diego, and then yes, we got it on our honeymoon. But
I've traveled. I haven't gotten it.
I know.
I've traveled a lot.
Yeah, we got it in Ireland is when we got it.
You've gotten it in foreign countries. You've gotten Europe COVID.
Yeah. How many people could say they've done that?
Yeah. How about that? Shingles to COVID shots. Where was I going?
I have no idea.
I have no idea either.
Should we break before Sarah comes on?
Is that where we're at?
Yeah.
I'm just enjoying doing the show. It's been a while.
Yeah, we've been off for a few days. What? When we here for Friday?
Oh, people altering their lives.
Fireworks.
So obviously, I work every 4th of July. So I always show up to this family party that my family goes to, the Rushmeyers. And by the time I show up, everybody's pretty liquored up. All right? Game's over. Post game. Like, I didn't get there last night till like almost 8 o'clock. So can you imagine what the party was like? This is in San Jose. It was like amazing the amount of fire. It was insane how many fireworks were going off. Bill Martin, weather guy, had the whole thing of what Oakland looked like at night with all the fireworks going off. Love fireworks. Who doesn't love fireworks? But how many people ended up in the emergency room? and how many people altered their lives forever. Uh-oh, fireworks. I love watching them. I'm not the biggest fire them off guy. Are you?
Yeah, no. Well, I can't. So
you can't?
Where am I going to shoot them off from my apartment? My balcony?
In the street, like everybody else?
It's a busy street.
Everybody else is doing it. I live across the street from the park. You would think it's an actual official sanctioned firework park with how much fireworks go off across my. If you go out from my house right now to the park, they've got all the stuff that's all burned up. But I mean, it's high tech stuff, and they're firing. They're firing it. It's like a fight. I don't have to go anywhere. I go to this party, but I could stay, pull a lawn chair out in front of my house, and just walk. I have a unofficial fireworks show out in front of my house.
Do you put a cone in front of your house and it takes your parking spot? Is that what you do too? Or are you one of those guys?
No, I put the hot dog stand out and I wrap bacon around hot dogs and I sell it.
Saw a lot of those at the Quakes match on Saturday.
Sarah Langs joins us next right here on A's Cast Live. This is Chris Townsend, and it is summertime. You want to look your best, and I can't tell you how excited I am. Commander Cody, we've got our new shipment from Link Soul, all the summer gear. So whether you're playing golf or you're going out for dinner, you're hanging out with your buddies, or you're going to the beach, go see our friends at linksoul.com. And right now they have an offer where you can get 20% off. Go to linksoul.com. Remember, in the big leagues, look good, play good.
Chevron with Techron has unbeatable engine cleaning power, and it gives you unbeatable mileage for all kinds of unbeatable destinations, like time in the sun at the beach, or time in the sun riding roller coasters, or a day in the sun hiking mountains. Well, probably just one mountain would be enough for a day, but hiking a mountain is still an unbeatable choice for how to spend time. Download the Chevron app now to get unbeatable mileage at locations near you.
This is Chris Townsend, and if you're looking for a great place to eat and watch games, go see my friends at the Chicken Pie Shop at Walnut Creek. The Chicken Pie Shop is one of the hottest restaurants in Walnut Creek. You're not going to find a better menu, and come try their world-famous chicken pie that has been served in Southern California for 86 years. Spacious indoor and outdoor dining, perfect for your next private party or corporate event. Don't forget free parking. For more information, go to chickenpieshopwc.com. That's chickenpieshopwc.com.
It's Kids Cheer Free all summer long. Bring your kids ages 14 and younger to the ballpark on Sunday home games for free. After the game, race around the bases with Stomper on the same field that your favorite A's players do. Get your tickets now at athletics.com/kidsfree.
If you're looking for a new mattress, Nest Bedding has you covered. Sleep on the same mattress Hall of Famer Ricky Henderson sleeps on. Nest Bedding is the #1 brand of online mattresses and the Bay Area's favorite mattress store. Take home the Easy Breather pillow. The New York Times calls it their #1 pick. You can navigate their easy-to-use website, nestbedding.com. That's nestbedding.com. Green and Gold fans, use the coupon code Oakland and you get 10% off your entire order. Nest Bedding, love where you sleep.
Get your superhero squad together and join forces as we take on the Minnesota Twins on Saturday, July 15th during Marvel Superhero Day. All fans can enjoy this special Marvel-themed day at the ballpark, along with fun photo opportunities, character appearances, and in-game features as part of the fun. Get there early to snack a Captain Marvel bobblehead presented by Extra Mile. Tickets start at just $10 and are available at athletics.com/tickets. That's athletics.com/tickets.
Streaming from the town, A's Cast Live continues with Chris Townsend.
Well, yesterday, Lou Gehrig Appreciation Day at Yankee Stadium. July 4th, 1939, Lou Gehrig gave the famous speech. And yesterday at Yankee Stadium, our own Sarah Langs was honored at Yankee Stadium with, I'm sure, Lou Gehrig there with you. Seeing the pictures with the skipper and Garrett Cole, your mother and father, just what an unbelievable day it must have been for you and your family at Yankee Stadium.
It was absolutely incredible. I mean, it was so powerful to be there on that day. As you said, on the 84th anniversary of that speech, we got a tour of the Yankee Museum. They put one of Lou Gehrig's old hats on my head. The museum curator did that. I was able to hold one of his old bats, and to have that tangible connection was really, really incredible. And the Yankees did such a great job. I mean, this was part of their annual Hope Week, which is now, I believe it's gone on every year since 2009. And they choose members of the community to highlight different groups. Today they're in Hinchcliffe Stadium in New Jersey, but the amount of thoughtfulness and energy and everything that goes into the day, the way that Jason Zillow and the rest of the Yankees put it together, is just absolutely outstanding. And my parents, I mean, they both threw great pitches. I was so happy for them.
Yeah, when you think about the New York Yankees and how really big they are in American sports, I mean, we've talked about it for many years. As big as the NFL has gotten, still, the Yankees are still the one team. You know, you can look at the NBA. A lot of people look at Lakers and Celtics, now the Golden State Warriors. I mean, football will be the Dallas Cowboys. But really in American sports, the New York Yankees, because they've dominated the Eastern Seaboard for so long, where most people live, they are such a big deal. And they just really show you the power that they have for good. And when you talk about the fight for ALS that you're a part of now, just talk about, you know, what the Yankees have been able to do for awareness and raising money.
I mean, it was wonderful because it wasn't just me. And I made that clear to them when they reached out and said they wanted to honor me as part of Hope Week. I said, okay, but I'm not the only young woman living with ALS right now. This is a group that people don't think of. People think of Lou Gehrig or even men who are older than that when they think of ALS. And I think a very important part with advocacy and awareness is for people to realize that this can strike absolutely anybody at any time. So there's a wonderful group I'm a part of called Her ALS Story, founded by a young woman named Leah Stavenhagen. And there are a handful of members in the tri-state area. The Yankees were gracious enough to honor and host not just me, but I believe 7 or 8 other young women, all of whom were diagnosed under the age of 35. They were there. We were all out on the field. The Yankees took the field, gave us all blue and white roses. It was such a beautiful moment and really, really important to show from baseball, from Lou Gehrig's sport, and from his team, the acknowledgement and understanding that isn't just about people who look like Lou Gehrig. Every patient is equally important and deserves for this to be cured, but just to show physical, tangible evidence of other people like me who are dealing with this, I thought was so important. And of course, I mean, everything they did, they all signed a Baseball is the Best shirt that is going to be auctioned off, signed by every member of the Yankees, and that money will go to Project ALS, one of the many research organizations that's helping to try to find a cure. They also made a $10,000 incredibly generous donation to Project ALS. So everything they did, top to bottom, was really, really well done. Again, not just from the monetary standpoint, which is very important to get money towards research, but also just the personal side, the thoughtfulness, and the understanding of how do we show who people are with ALS and what they're living with right now.
I think it's a great point because I would even say for myself, you always think of people who are older have ALS. You don't think of people who are younger. And that is such a great point and something that yesterday was able to highlight, that this is just not people who, let's say, are over 60.
Exactly. Even Lou Gehrig was not your typical case. Your typical demographic, as you said, is 56 years old and a white male. But that is not everyone who is dealing with this disease. There's so many others. So to be able to highlight that, and I think everyone at that game, it was a sold out crowd. We had a little rain delay to start, a little summertime thunderstorm. But after that, there's 40,000 plus in the stand. seeing all of us on the field, hearing us recite Lou Gehrig's speech, and just realizing how prevalent this really is, as I've been saying so much since I shared this publicly in October. It is not a rare disease, it is an underfunded one. So there's just something so wonderful about baseball as a whole on the Gehrig Day, and now the Yankees in this really, really special day, being able to help show the world what ALS looks like and why we need to cure it.
For our audience to donate and help, there's quite a few that I've researched. Where would you like us to donate?
Well, I love that you mentioned that, because the truth is there's so many great organizations out there right now doing so many different things. They're great research organizations. One that I partner with, a handful, it's called Project ALS. Another out of Boston called ALS TGI. And of course, Mass General Brigham, the hospital, is doing incredible work as well. But there are other great organizations such as IMALS, which is purely focused on current patients and helping their quality of life. And of course, our great friend Boog Shambi works with Project Main Street, which is also solely focused on current patients and helping their quality of life. So I'd say to anyone who is interested, figure out what part of the disease means the most to you and means the most, whether it's helping those who are currently battling or helping the next generation. Anything that you can do is very, very much appreciated. And I would say that I always want people to make sure they're donating somewhere that really speaks to them. So do a Google search, read about a couple of different places, and decide what means the most to you.
And of course, you are still working tirelessly on the sport that you love, Major League Baseball. We're heading into the All-Star game. What excites you? I mean, we're talking about, because this is our last show, right? Well, I won't be here. So this is my last show before the All-Star break. What excites you going to see, the All-Star game, Pacific Northwest up in Seattle, the best players in the world get together? What excites you about the All-Star game this year?
I mean, what doesn't excite me? I love All-Star Week. I love the Home Run Derby. I love the game. I love all of it. I'm really excited to see us have two rookies starting this year, Josh Young of the Rangers and Corbin Carroll of the Diamondbacks. It's the first time each team, AL and NL, will have a rookie starting in the same year. But for me, the creme de la creme of the entire week is the Derby. I love it. It is the best of any exhibition kind of moment. And we have almost a full field now. I saw Luis Robert announce earlier that he's going to be doing it. Really excited to see who the final name might be. But, I mean, we have Vlad Jr., who hit 91 home runs as a rookie back in Cleveland in 2019. We have Julio, defending runner-up in his home ballpark. There's just so much to be excited for. And, I loved when we found out the full reserves and pitchers on Sunday. We saw all of these videos from teams about guys who are making it, them being told. And I'm thinking about Brent Rooker. I mean, that video, his reaction and the photos of him with his head in his hands. I mean, to everybody who says that, having every team have an all-star keeps guys out, the rosters always work out for themselves. There are replacements, everything happens. And to anyone who thinks that we shouldn't be sending a guy from every team, I direct them to A's Twitter. I direct them to the Tigers. I direct them to any of those teams and the way those guys reacted. I mean, it means so much to these players to be able to go. They bring their family. It's the Home Run Derby again. Has all those kids running around on the sidelines, my favorite part. And it's just such an amazing moment to celebrate baseball. So I'm so excited for everyone who made it, and I'm so excited to see how it all plays out.
I remember years ago we first started seeing the gala. After they, have home run derby, after they do all that kind of stuff, they, have a party. ESPN used to, back when ESPN had Baseball Tonight, they would show a little bit of it. I love now how MLB Network actually makes a show out of it, a red carpet situation, and it kind of highlights, it's like baseball's finally catching on because they've been doing this for years in the NFL and having award shows and everything. It's like, this is actually very, very smart. Can't wait to see it. And, I just a little bit worried about some of the guys who've gotten hurt. I mean, now Mike Trout with the hamate bone, that's never good. Shohei Ohtani leaving the mound yesterday in San Diego with the nail and the blister and everything. It was hard to believe how many guys were falling like flies yesterday down in San Diego for the Angels.
I know, over the course of a handful of hours, right? It was Trout going on the IL, Rendon, and then Ohtani leaving that game, which is just such a bummer to see. I mean, this is, I believe, third straight year now where Trout has been voted in as the starter but not able to play because of injury. He's amazing. I mean, none of that is anything against him. And you guys know, I mean, whenever you see a guy get hit on the hand, my heart just drops. And it happened with Tyro Strada for the Giants in New York, I believe, on Sunday Baseball. He was hit by a pitch. And I immediately said outside to myself, oh my gosh, he just broke his hand.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, the same thing had happened. So you hope that he gets back soon for Trout, but I haven't seen whether he's still going to attend the events, but I hope he does because everyone wants to see his adorable little son. Bat, right? B-A-T are his initials, which was purposeful. And I love seeing how the families enjoy everything. So I hope we get to see him on that truck or car, whatever it is, for the red carpet show, as you mentioned. But certainly for the Angels, it's a tough spot.
All right, your Mets. I'm looking at it right now. 39-46, even though they've won 3 in a row, 18 games back.
I mean, the Braves are so good. That is, the Mets had a tough June. There's no way around that. I believe they had 13 games in June, but they held the lead and ended up losing the game, most of the majors, in the month of June. But so much of that is about how good the Braves are, and I think they really deserve to hear that. I mean, this is a team that leads the majors in runs scored in any inning, and their run scored is in the first inning. Their first inning performance across the board, runs scored, hits, home runs, run differential, you name it, is leading the majors. And it's because of Ron Acuna Jr., who's already with 20-plus homers, 40-plus stolen bases, and it's July 5th, and they haven't played yet today. So having him starting those innings for them, starting every game, has been so powerful for an offense that's really, truly been relentless. It really does put the Mets, the Phillies, and the Marlins, who have stuck around, in a really tough spot. But, I mean, all props to the Braves for being such a dominant team yet again.
All right, so I guess if we're running the team and you can have the owner come out and have the press conference, and you can have Seaver the dog, and you can do all that kind of stuff. But there's some tough decisions to be made. And to be honest with you, Sarah, there's some tough decisions to be made with a lot of teams, right? I mean, I can look at the Boston Red Sox at 43-43. I can look at the San Diego Padres at 40-46. Teams that have talent, that the percentages tell you you're not going to be in the postseason unless something miraculous happens. So if they were to call you, their GMs, and say, what do I do? Would it be smart to unload some guys, to bring in prospects, to get lower salary going, to maybe get under the thresholds? Like, what do you do if you're the Mets and you're the Red Sox and you're the Padres, you're some of these teams? Would you recommend for them to maybe wave the white flag, trade, and lower some salaries?
This is one of those moments where I'm yet again glad that I don't have to make those decisions, and I instead get to react to them. But I do think we're going to see an interesting kind of confluence of two things over the next almost month, 3 weeks or so here, because the new postseason format, which we saw last year, definitely makes teams believe, rightfully so or not, that there is a little bit more hope left. Where you were sitting on July 5th is maybe a little bit brighter of a possibility than it was in prior postseason formats. But then you have the fact that even still, does that mean you're primed for a long run? Does that really mean that you're going to get in? And I think the teams you mentioned are kind of all in different spots, despite being in very similar records. I mean, the Red Sox are in a division that is going to finish as the best division in baseball history of any division to have at least 5 teams in it. They're absolutely, as a whole, crushing the competition, the overall win percentage, the win percentage as the division, which of course you board games up now, is really, really high. The Red Sox, unfortunately, probably cannot make up all of that ground. With all of those teams ahead of them, the Yankees, even without Aaron Judge, are up there. You have the Blue Jays, you have the Orioles, and of course the Tampa Bay Rays. So to me, the Red Sox are in the spot where it would make sense to make some of those trades. Anyone who has a year or two left of control on short contracts, mesh in the on short contracts. To me, the Padres are the team that I still think can get it together. I know that they haven't quite been there yet, but there's so much talent on that team. The way Blake Snell looked in June, the fact that Juan Soto is having another great year, Xander Bogaerts is so good. Tatis has been really, really good. To me, that Padres team could still potentially do it. So I'm not sure I would be ready to tell them to make that trade, but I do think for the Mets, they have a handful of veterans who would make sense to see what you can get for them.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the program. It was so great that you had such a special day yesterday with everybody that was involved, especially your parents. The pictures and the videos were absolutely beautiful. Enjoy the All-Star game. Enjoy all the festivities. We love you, and we'll talk to you after the break.
Thank you so much. Have a great All-Star break and great to see you.
Goodbye, Sarah. The great Sarah Langs right here from MLB.com. God, she's so special, and I'm so glad you can read all about it. Just type in Sarah Langs to Google, and also places, as you mentioned, she mentioned, to where you can donate at such a young age to have ALS, this disease that you know the diagnosis and what happens, and it's so sad. And she's so special in the baseball community, and it's been amazing how many people have honored her and reached out to where the Yankees did it with her family yesterday. And, you know, July 4th, 1939 is the date of the famous Lou Gehrig speech. And, you know, our thoughts and prayers always go with Sarah, but she doesn't want us. She wants us to talk baseball. She is not stopping working. She's working as much as she was before. She's a grinder. So when she's on, we're going to talk some baseball. And I think it's an interesting question about how do you run your business? Because we want to think of this as team. Get in. Anybody gets in, you have a chance. Well, okay, but if you were running a business and you said, listen, you've got this really, really, really small percentage that you might be able to make something happen for the rest of the year for your business, or you make some decisions that could really make you a much healthier business in the next few years. Do you take that gamble for the small percentage for hopefully something big, but it's a real small percentage versus doing some things that will make you, so from a business standpoint, healthier and more profitable for the next few years down the road? What do you do? Now, the average fan is unfortunately not a business person and thinks, you always go for it. But that's not always smart. You have to look at it from a business standpoint. You want to go for it if you're really Boston at 43-43 with really no chance.
The Fangraphs has their playoff odds at 14.5%.
Like, you're going to risk at 14.5. What do they got, the Padres?
Bob Melvin and the Padres, their playoff odds are at 28.4%.
Man, how much you want to risk? Now, the Padres kind of have to because they're all in, and A.J. Preller, it's basically now you start, okay, who's secure, who's not, who's going to sell their jobs. Like the Chicago White Sox are just in town. They have to make moves. That is, we didn't report it because we're not trying to make noise, but there was a fight inside I don't even know if you know this.
No, 3.3% for the White Sox.
There was a fight inside the White Sox clubhouse.
Oh, well, that doesn't surprise me.
After that loss on Saturday, there was a fight in their clubhouse after the game. I knew about it. I'm not on Twitter I'm not looking to break any news. We're not looking to do that. But it's just like there's certain things that is smart. And right now, if you kind of see the playoffs, like you look out there and you can kind of see it, are you going all in right now with so many teams? Well, the fan will say, yes, you got to do it. It's a chance to win a championship. But do you really have a chance? Or is it smart? Look around your roster and say, where's the fat? Where can I trim the fat? And where can that fat help produce future gain for me? Because right now, you look at some of these teams, they've got some fat. They got some fat that they could get rid of.
I'll give you the best example. There's a team with the 19.8% playoff odds entering today.
Well, I'll give you want best example of fat? I saw it on the mound yesterday. Best example of fat that if you could off this guy for really your future. Were you watching the game in the Valley of the Sun?
No. Can't say I did.
Corbin Carroll's fun to watch, by the way. Corbin Carroll.
I like him.
Oh, my God. He's
having a nice little start to his career.
They should nickname him the Tasmanian Devil. He's that little guy that can do it all. Like everybody who plays baseball, there's that guy in the league that you play with that he's not the biggest dude, but he's small and powerful. He's kind of like Bip Roberts, except more power. But that's how Bip was, like a small guy that can flat out rake. He can run. He can play defense. He can do anything. And I can tell you as a pitcher, you hate pitching against this guy because he has no strike zone, right? Short guys got no strike zone. But when you're short and you got power, Rafael Furcal was that guy. Like you look at like a dynamo. That's Corbin Carroll's a lot of fun to watch. Max Scherzer's that guy. Max Scherzer's up there throwing 93. Max Scherzer still pitches like he's this extreme power pitcher. Yeah, he gets some strikeouts, but I just don't see it anymore. And you saw it last year in the playoffs where the Padres literally just you're going to go up there against a quality big league lineup in the postseason and pump 93 at guys? They are going to crush you unless you got movement. Your breaking stuff's nasty. I'm just not sure what Max Scherzer at $40 million is still. And no, I mean, Max Scherzer's a great player. I mean, he's going to be in the Hall of Fame someday. I mean, he's had a great career, but Scherzer, if I could dump Scherzer and his money and get something for him at this point, like yesterday, he was lucky. He had the bases loaded, walked a guy in, then got out of it. Still gave up 6. He at least went 6, but he went 6, 4 earnings. He's got a 4.03 ERA.
The perfect team to trade him to is a team that he pitched against last night.
I mean, if you could get Arizona or anybody to give you some prospects and just get because as much as we love talking about they're spending money, look, they're going for it. Well, it take the Dodgers. It literally blanks you. It blanks you because over time, the more the Giants have experienced it, the more you're over these thresholds, they start hitting your draft picks. The fines are, whatever the taxes you got to pay, but you start getting hit with your international pool money. You got to start getting hit with your draft picks. You do not want to live over the tax threshold year after year after year. And if you're out of it and you got a guy like Max Scherzer making 42, 43, I'm guessing it's right around in there.
Yeah, it's somewhere in there.
Get rid of that. See, this is the last year of his deal. Get rid of that money. Just get rid of it and you start looking around guys you could cut off the Mets. You think about guys you get rid of the Red Sox. Padres, like I said, I don't think you're going to do it, but that would be smart. I mean, man, if you could unload somebody, I'm just saying, I get it from a fan standpoint. We want to see you always go for it. Well, there's times where you're looking at it and you're going, this might be the time to cut some of the fat, get younger, and get a little cheaper.
Yeah, the one I was getting up the 19.8% playoff odds is the Angels. And, Trout's hurt. Shocker, Rendon's hurt again. And Shohei Ohtani
Did
is
you
a
hear
blister.
about Rendon?
Well, I just know he fouled a ball off his leg. And
Rendon left the ballpark on crutches.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Dude, San Diego was not,
it wasn't a good.
Everybody talks about San Diego as a fun little place to go. I mean, obviously, I grew up there. It's a nice city, great city. Not for the Angels.
No.
In less than 24, it wouldn't even be not even close to 24 hours. It was a night and a day game.
Yeah.
You lost Trout, Ohtani, and Rendon like that in a matter of 14 hours.
So the question is, what do you do if you're the Angels?
I already told you what you should do. You guys don't want to listen to me.
I love the argument is if you trade him now, you might not be able to re-sign him in the offseason. I don't think he was going to sign there anyway.
If he's gone, if Shohei Ohtani is gone, you either ride it out where the odds are against you, or you dump him right now to get as much as you possibly can for him. Because once the last game of the year hits and the season's over, he's no longer your guy anymore. And he can go anywhere he wants. And you've had all this time. I mean, we don't know what the negotiations are. We don't know what they're talking about with it. Who represents him?
Not Scott Boras. Who does represent Shohei?
So you've talked with his representatives. If you don't think you can sign him.
So happy birthday, Shohei. 29 today.
And that's the other thing, too. I said this yesterday on the
CAA Sports.
I said this yesterday on the postgame show, and I'll stick with it. What time are we doing Rook?
2:30. So after we're done here, we'll take a look.
We're just cruising today.
Yeah.
We don't have enough time.
We have to be off before 3 too, because pregame's at 3.
I think this is fair to say. Shohei Ohtani is not the best player to have ever played in baseball. Stop. That's just way too early. He's the best skill set we have ever seen. He by far is the best skill set we have ever seen. When you take his height, his speed, his power, his intelligence, then his ability to throw and be a pitcher, it's the best skill set. Now, the pitcher thing, I'm always sensitive to because he is helped out by modern technology. If we're just gonna throw him at the front of the line without looking at the yesteryear guys, Ohtani wouldn't be pitching. He'd be done because he had to have Tommy. Anybody that's had Tommy John surgery, stop with the greatest of all time, because if he pitched in a yesteryear, his career would be over. But before I'm going to put him in front of Hank Aaron or Barry Bonds or whoever,
Ted Williams,
he's got to play a long time. That's why I'm safe saying he's the greatest. Shohei Ohtani is the greatest skill set we have ever seen, hands down. But he's 29, and he's got years left to put up big numbers. Years. And already, what are we seeing? This is not, and thank God for Shohei Ohtani, this is not ligament damage, or we're looking at shoulder. It's a blister and a nail. But my criticism of Ohtani, whenever I've criticized him, everybody wants to come down my road. As a pitcher, I don't get enough starts. As a hitter, he's amazing. He's amazing.
He is on pace, I think, to break or tie Judge's record.
Yeah, well, scouts thought he wouldn't be able to hit at this level.
That's
How
true.
are those scouts? But the pitching, it's like there's always And his pitching last year was hell on wheels when they were out of it. The whole pitching thing, he's amazing. He's a great pitcher. I'm not going to take anything away. It's just, and that's where the whole value thing comes in. Like, how much are you going to get out of him long term? I mean, how much are you going to get out of him long term as a pitcher? And he's about to be 29. But getting back to the big thing is the Angels. What do you do? What do you do?
Yeah, I'm in the camp if you trade him. But that's
you don't have to trade anybody.
No, but,
I mean,
but you're trying to build. You're trying to build for the future.
I have a house. I got a killer house. I can put it on the market. I can get all the bids I want, and I can decide. I can let everybody do a walkthrough, which is annoying because you got to get out of the house, and everybody's going to do a walkthrough. All your stuff is still in the house, but I'd let everybody walk through. I'd take the bids and then evaluate. I would at least
entertain.
I mean, you've had the opportunity to re-sign him. Perry Manassian, is he just the general manager? Is he executive VP?
No, I think he's
VP.
I think he's just the
head of.
I think he's just the GM.
Is he just he's just a GM?
I know. It's what you type in their front office and he's probably not going to be on the front page.
Oh my God, they got more.
Yeah, nope. Just the 13th general manager in Angels history.
All right, he's just the GM, Perry Manassian. So I would entertain. Throw it out there. I mean, are you worried about hurting Shohei Ohtani's feelings? If he's worried about the feelings, bro, we want to sign you. What do we got to do? Oh, you don't want to do it? Oh, you just want to lump us into this bidding process that's going to happen in the offseason? Do you want to do that? I mean, if you're the Angels, yeah, I want to do it because the guy's worth, but will he pick us? Well, you always have to do what's best for your business long term. What's best for the business long term? I had this conversation with drunk people last night at July 4th with a bunch of A's fans. And they were asking me a bunch of questions. And a reality. Here's a reality. And I know this is highly unpopular, and I brought it up before, and actually, people rip me on message boards, but teams that
message boards. It's not something I haven't heard in a while.
Yeah, there's still ones out there. Teams that just go out and sign big contracts and have guys long term, are those the teams that have sustainability?
Not that we've seen recently.
Nope.
All Houston's deals are smaller.
Jim Crane said it as the confetti was flying down. Astros are the champions. He was asked about a dynasty, and he said, we've got a 5-year contingency plan to replace anybody here. He can replace anybody within 5 years.
Sorry, started doing it.
They don't have a long-term plan with anybody. Everybody can be moved. Rays, everybody can be moved. Oakland, we don't keep any money. You can't buy a jersey. Okay. You can buy a jersey for some teams, and they can't stand. You want to buy a Miguel Cabrera jersey? Hey, great. You could buy. You got $32 million going to a guy that's old and terrible.
How about Giancarlo Stanton Yankee?
No. The Padre deals. I mean, what's it going to look like when you got Machado at 37 and you got all these Bogarts at 38 and you're paying these guys? I mean, it's going to be horrific. It's like, what? Would you rather win, or do you just want to have a player under contract long term? I mean, obviously you'd like to have both. I get it. I get the fan standpoint of having one guy to call your guy, but it doesn't mean flexibility is the name of our sport. I mean, look at okay, if you think I'm a kook, all right, I'm such a kook, I'm going to go to the standings. Let's see. Name me the long-term contracts on Tampa Bay.
Wander Franco. That's the only one.
Name me the long-term contracts on Baltimore.
There isn't one that I can think of.
Well, those are your number. If Sarah Lang just said this is a historic division, they're number 1 and number 2 in this historic division. Not the Yankees, not the Blue Jays, and not the Boston Red Sox. It's the teams with the lower payrolls and flexibility are number 1 and number 2 in the AL East.
See, now my mind's racing on who the biggest deal is on Baltimore.
Not Chris Davis. Well, Chris Davis.
I mean, they might be. Yeah, I think they're still paying him. But
yeah,
currently,
look at Chris Davis. They were finally just said, "Get out of here, walk. You're terrible."
Yeah, I mean, a lot of their pitchers are on 1-year deals, like Gibson and
And Wander Franco. His deal's cheap.
It's like 13 for 180 or something like that.
It's cheap, but whatever. They don't do it. You want to be smart in this game? Houston Astros, 6 straight years have been in the ALCS, 4 World Series appearances, 2 World Series titles, and their owner has said, we're loyal to nobody on national television.
Fact.
We're loyal to nobody. We can place anybody. Look around. Any of these guys probably won't be here in 5 years. But we've been a fan base that sits around and complains that we can't sign all these guys long term. And by the way, who would be the one player that would have been a good investment long term?
Yeah, we went over this. There really isn't one. Matt Olson. Maybe.
We don't know.
Yeah, that's about it.
Who?
I know people still go Sonny Gray.
Sonny Gray was awful in New York and okay in Cincinnati. He wasn't worth it.
Chapman, no.
Tejada.
No.
Giambi?
No. Big Murph is only doing. Big Murph is a very good lineup.
But these are right now. We're talking long term. We don't know. I mean, what if Murph goes back to hitting 220 next year?
Donaldson, no.
Cespedes, God no. Remember, everybody wants Cespedes on a long term deal. Cespedes train wreck, gets hurt on his farm.
The only one I can think of maybe would be like Tim Hudson.
Tim Hudson had Tommy John surgery.
He was still good after, though.
Yeah.
He's the only one.
But was that a good investment?
No. I mean, they helped Giants win a World Series.
Were Giants paying him big money? No.
No, there was Atlanta.
But you wanted to pay him big money. How about, the big three? Zito was a train wreck in San Francisco, except for the 2012 second half and postseason.
Yeah.
Mulder went immediately and got hurt. Was never the same.
Then he was out of baseball.
Seriously, all the people that complain about signing people. Miguel Tejada lied about his age and was on PEDs.
Yeah.
It's great. I love Miggy.
Had a nice year with the Orioles where he had over 200 hits, too.
But we're talking long-term. Long-term investment means the guy needed to be good for the contract. Who would have been that guy?
There hasn't been one. People are going to argue and say, no, you're wrong. These are the guys that should have been, and it's all the guys we named.
Are we missing anybody?
Yeah. How many of those guys won in the World Series besides Hudson?
I'm more looking at the. Let's look at Tim Hudson. Maybe
we're getting close on Rooker here.
Okay, let me just go to Tim Hudson real quick, because it wasn't like Tim Hudson broke the bank. Yeah, he was a $9 million a year guy in baseball.
As I say. The game was different back then.
Yeah, he was like he got 2 years of 15. That's 9. Yeah, you know what? Tim Hudson in an A's uniform for $9 million a year. Take it.
That's what we call a steal.
Yeah, that's a steal. But that's what I'm saying. Long-term investments. How many of the guys that? But yet, people hate it. But 12, 13, 14, 18, 19, 20 are in the postseason.
Yeah, fair.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen now. Now is a little bit different, but those are. I covered all those years. I covered the bad years and the good years, and there's quite a few good years by not paying people long-term contracts. Can you imagine the Mets have the highest payroll in the history of baseball, and they're 18 games back? That's brutal.
That's not good.
Brent Rooker, obviously, the speech by Mark Kotze was special. If you got to see it on social media, it tells you a lot about our game, how hard it is. The manager who played a long time knows how hard it is. The players in the clubhouse know how hard it is. The team right now is 24-63. It's a tough season. Brent Rooker, we're going to talk. We taped this, so I can tell you we're going to address the fact that, this guy made the roster the night before.
Yeah.
There was a decision that had to be made. Rooker or Pache. They went Rooker. And he had a great start. His first month was unbelievable. The last 40 games have been a struggle, but Brent Rooker has been an unbelievable story. Here is your all-star for 2023. Well, now joining us here on A's Cast Live, it is your 2023 All-Star representative for the Oakland Athletics, Brent Rooker's joining us. By the way, Brent, how does that sound?
It sounds good to me, man. It's something I probably never would have expected to hear, but it's exciting nonetheless. And yeah, I like the way it sounds for sure.
You know, when we talked to you after you made the team, we were on the field and we were talking about it was emotional because for you, spring training meant so much. To have a great spring training, you basically made the roster on the last day. This was huge for your career to finally get a chance to show people you can play at that level. We talked about all of that at the beginning of the year, and now we're sitting here talking about you're an all-star. So if that was emotional to make the team, how emotional was it now to make the all-star team?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. Like I said, going through spring training, just fighting every day, competing, trying to make a team. This is something that wasn't really in the realm of possibility for me. So it's been pretty cool to kind of go out and even surpass my own expectations of myself and be able to achieve this is awesome. And I definitely got emotional when I got the news, that's for sure.
No doubt. And just take us through the experience of Mark Kotze with that great speech, because that speech was all about honoring you.
Yeah, it was cool. I appreciated the way Kotze did that and the message that he had. It meant a lot to me, coming from a guy who with so much big league experience, who kind of obviously had the shape of his career was a little different than mine, but he knows the grind of going out there and being a big leaguer every day and playing every day, trying to compete and produce. So having it come from him and the way he delivered it meant a lot to me.
You know, we always think about who's the first phone call. So once all of that ends, like the speech, and you find out and you kind of gather yourself, and then you're going to, like, I assume, grab the phone and go somewhere. Who did you call first?
I called my wife first, and then I called my mom right after her. So that was kind of the order of things. And my dad was with my mom, so that's kind of a one phone call kind of thing. But I called my wife immediately, and then from there I went and called my parents.
Yeah, it's so different these days. You know, years ago, there was basically a ballot. People would fill out the ballot. So either the fans picked you or the manager of the team picked you. What was that like, knowing that it was your peers who picked you?
Yeah, I think that makes it, even that much more special, knowing that, that the guys I'm competing against day in and day out, that I've kind of earned their respect and gone out and played in a way that impressed them sufficiently to make that decision. I think that was very cool and definitely a cool way to get in for sure.
You know, you got out to such a hot start, and that's what really put you on the map. And it's so hard to maintain that because you were on a pace. I mean, my God, you would have set the home run record, all that kind of stuff. But just talk about, after that hot start, just the day-to-day grind, because now you kind of got a target on your back.
Yeah, it's tough. I had a really good first 6 weeks there or so. Since then I've been trying to make adjustments and just go out there and compete and continue to learn, continue to improve, because the league makes adjustments to you, pitchers change the type of stuff they're throwing at you. They change sequences on you at the same time. Maybe your swing starts not feel as well, or feels good. So that's kind of the one thing one of the things I'm learning this year, being my first time, being up here full time and playing a lot, is just how how many ups and downs there are at this level, and the key is just trying to stay as level headed as you can, which is difficult at times. But it's been a challenge for me, and it's been a fun thing to try to learn and figure out as well.
Yeah, and I know it's at one point, man, you were exhausted. Like, it's tiring, right? I mean, when you're trying to do it every day, it's just not all the physical work you put in, but it's the mental aspect that which is also so tough.
For sure. There's a mental and emotional side to it as well. Going out there and really being, just trying to compete and trying to beat the best pitchers in the world day in and day out. It gets mentally tiring, and going through some of those stretches of failures gets emotionally tiring as well. So, you just got to kind of sit back and do as good a job as you can, handling those different times and those different experiences, because it's all part of it. And if you want to be the type of player that that I want to be, it's all things you got to experience and be able to conquer and go through.
When I think about veteran leadership, just talk about how some of the older guys have really helped you through this entire process.
Yeah, it's been huge. We've got a ton of great guys in that clubhouse, guys who've been around the league a while, guys who've had success in the league, and just talking to them, learning how they go through their day-to-day business, whether they're going good, going bad, whether they're on a hot streak or kind of struggling at the plate. Just be able to gain advice from them and kind of hear some of their experiences has helped me for sure.
So going through this, now that you know where you are in your career, at some point people are going to be looking at you. How do you think this is going to help you now become a better leader?
Yeah, I think going through these different, like I said, these different spells, these different experiences, haven't been really hot, haven't been kind of cold, haven't been somewhere in the middle, haven't been in a place where I'm trying to figure some things out. All those experiences lead you to help guys down the road, because everybody that gets through this league and stays in this league for any kind of time at all is going to go through all those periods. So just having that experience and having it under my belt, kind of lends me to be able to help some guys down the road.
Yeah, and how have you been able to help some of the young players? Because there's no question you got some young players, especially in the outfield around you.
Yeah, I've got some of the experience, going up and down. We've got some guys kind of on that ride right now this season who be up here for a while, then maybe get option and come back up later down the road. And I've done that before, so that's kind of one area that I'm able to talk with them through and kind of help them, keep their mind right and keep their mind ready to come back up here and compete whenever they're called on.
Now, have you thought about the moment that you're going to show up in Seattle and you're going to go into the locker room and you're going to be in that clubhouse with the greatest players in the world and the biggest names? Have you thought about what that's going to be when you walk in and you're amongst the best of the best?
I have, for sure, and it feels surreal now. So I can only imagine what it's going to feel like at that time. Walking in there, seeing all the jerseys hanging out, seeing different guys just hanging out. All guys that I've looked up to, and I've admired, and I've tried to learn from from afar without ever even having met them, but watch them play, watch them hit, trying to learn as much as I can. It's going to be a pretty cool experience.
Yeah, you're gonna have a red carpet experience. You gotta have the right Brent. You gotta have the right suit. You gotta get everything rolling for this shindig.
That's right. Yeah, I got the suit taken care of. So hopefully, we'll be looking good out there, having a good time with the red carpet and doing all the stuff.
Let's end on this. Obviously, mathematically, we're in the second half, but there is something about the All-Star break where everybody goes away. And then all of a sudden we kind of look, okay, here we go. You got the rest of July into August and September. When you start thinking about the second half, what do you think about goals for yourself? What you'd like to see from yourself in the second half?
Man, I think just kind of just continue to improve. I think I've learned a lot this first half. I think I've taken a lot of things that I'm going to be able to apply, for the rest of my career, whether it's mental stuff or emotional stuff or physical stuff, swing wise. But I'm just looking to go out there. I'm looking to improve in the second half. I'm looking to learn as much as I can, like I've said all year, and just ultimately just keep taking strides to become the best possible player that I can be.
Well, when we talk about role models, it's easy to be a role model when you're somebody that everything works out early for you and then through an entire career. But I think what I've experienced in my career, I think everybody listening, and for all the kids that are going to listen to this, I think you're a great example of what perseverance, hard work, what it means to never give up, to still be that guy, to have that dream, to battle every day. You're living proof that hard work and persistence definitely pays off. So you should be very proud of yourself, because you're a great model, not only for a lot of adults who are A's fans, but also to a lot of kids.
Man, I appreciate it. Thank you for saying that. That means a lot.
Hey, you take care. Enjoy every moment. I mean, every moment of it, and we'll see you in the second half.
Will do. Sounds good, guys. Thanks for having me.
How cool is that? Brent Rooker, man. Talk about, what we can learn from players. You don't give up. You essentially play until they rip the uniform off you. You, Cody, bring it to A's Cast until we rip the headset off of you.
That's true. I'm excited. I'll see Brent. Well, I won't be at the All-Star game, but I'll be at All-Star weekend. So I was going to say, I'm going to see Sarah up there. Sarah's going to Seattle, so I'll see her in person.
You're going to go to Home Run Derby.
I'm going to the Futures game. Those tickets cost $9. So my friends and I are going to that.
It's $9.
We bought them on StubHub, so we got them for like $9. So five of us are going.
Great ballpark.
And then we're going to the Home Run Derby. Those were a little more expensive, but
how much was Home Run Derby?
Like $250 a person.
Really?
It's not bad. I mean, still not bad.
$250 to watch just same home run, juice baseballs and home runs over and over again?
Yeah, and we don't even know I'm still waiting to see who the last contestant is. Luis Roberts now the seventh one. Was Luis Robert.
Yes, you convinced me he's a French Cuban.
By the way, on MLB The Show, Robert Poisson, I play on there. Book Shammy calls him Robert Poisson.
Robert Poisson, he's not cute, man. He's Dominican.
Yes.
That we gave $5.1 million to. Can't even play an A-ball.
And Booksham
how'd
calls him Robert.
How'd you get him onto the MLB The Show?
He was on the roster.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's random.
Well, I mean, they're looking for guys that they know name value. So. But yes,
are you going to go to the red carpet show?
No, my friend literally, you've met Matt. He has a whole itinerary for what he wants us to do while we're there. Like, dude, what are we doing? We're in our 30s. I don't need an itinerary to walk around Seattle. I've been there before.
Are you guys going to party?
Yeah, but like Saturday, 10 a.m. Space Needle.
Oh no, yeah, no.
Yeah, so
that's a bad way to. I got some places for you to go in Seattle.
We have a.
But you're not a seafood guy.
Yeah, well, I'm the only one. No, I'm not. There's another person that doesn't eat seafood either. But
all right, do you like Japanese food?
Yes.
Behind Home Plate is a great I call it Safeco, you call it T-Mobile. Right behind Home Plate's a great Japanese place.
Okay.
They've got by far. There's no way you can tell. There's 30 teams in Major League Baseball, correct? There's still 30.
Last time I checked.
There is no question Seattle has the best food. It's not even close. It's not even close.
I was disappointed because I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I've always had the weird fascination with trying the fried grasshoppers, but I don't think they do that anymore.
Well, they still have the lobster sandwich out in left center, which is to die for.
Don't they have
but that's not your
Don't they have something called the Ichi roll too?
I'm telling you, they've got every kind of food. They've got this one killer bar. It's this awesome down the left field line, and it just overlooks all the field. They got a killer bar with food.
This is my second time. I've been to T-Mobile before.
They've got food and bars, and to me, Safeco's T-Mobile. It's tough to beat as from ballpark standpoint.
It's a legit area.
It's awesome, the park, but everything in the park, the food and the way they did it, and all the different open areas and places that you can watch the game. It's a tough. I mean, you're in Seattle, so it's always gloomy, but you'll have a good time.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Dude, you're a bunch of guys. You're going to the Space Needle. You haven't been to the Space Needle yet?
But my friends haven't.
Why would you go to the Space?
They all want to do it. They want to do touristy things. Like, sure. But
that's stuff you do with your wife.
I've done that with my wife.
No offense to everybody out there.
But I'm looking forward to Futures game, seeing Seattle, seeing Sarah in Seattle will be cool. Home run derby, all that. But yeah, we got to go. We got Ace Total Access brought to us Chevron.
Well, you have fun at the All-Star game.
Thank you. It'll be a great time.
I'll
report back on the prospects.
I'll be here tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm doing TV and I'll do some radio with you. And then I'm starting my All-Star break on Friday. Not that, just going to be gone for a few days. And then we'll be back for the second half when I want some young players. Give me Geloff. Give me Soderstrom. I've heard Lawrence Butler. The manager said, Bobby Crosby, Lawrence Butler can play right now in the big leagues. Let's go. Ace Total Access. Right?
Yes.
Ace Total Access brought to you by
Chevron.
It's coming up next. We get you ready for A's baseball. Thank you for watching A's Cast Live. We want to thank the great Sarah Langs, Brent Rooker, the All-Star, and one of our all-time, and Bobby Crosby, the best.
Oh, love Bobby.
Absolutely love Bobby Crosby. Thank you for watching A's Cast Live. It's summertime, and I can guarantee you probably need to redo your wardrobe. You want to look good, and you want to feel comfortable. This is Chris Townsend, and you got to go check out my friends at Link Soul. They've got all the finest fabrics. You're going to love the shirts, the polos, the shorts, you name it. Redo your look